All right, let's do some news.
Oh, yeah. We gonna do some news.
And your news being sponsored by
Martin Jetco Heating and Air Conditioning, more reliable than your news source.
Okay, so when you were growing up, you may have dreamed of one day being a millionaire. But these days, having $1 million is not enough to make you rich.
Yeah, sadly.
So neither is 2 million. So if I were to ask you this question, what's the number in your head that you'd have to make you rich? Like, what's the number? And we're talking assets, cash, property, cars, bling. What's the number? And I'll tell you what America says, because there was a study on this. What do Americans consider themselves, when do Americans consider themselves wealthy? If they have an average of what?
I feel like I'm most impressed, and I look up, net worths of celebrities and stuff. When they're billionaires is when I'm like, ooh, that is legit.
Well, that's another category. But what?
It's the upper 1% of the 1%.
But that's what I feel like, for me, I guess half of that?
So $500 million to
$500
be wealthy?
I feel like
I was
I'd be
gonna say
well
three.
off. I wouldn't have to worry about a damn thing.
I was going to say 3 or 5.
Yeah.
I mean, and
I'm going
I
straight
think I'm closer to average. Lauren comes over here with, I guess I'll $500 million.
So how many people are on Earth? 9 billion?
Something
Something like that.
Yeah.
So out of 9 billion people, let's say, I don't know what the Earth's population is. There's only a little more than 2,500 billionaires. So what's as far as the percentage of that of population? There's only a little over 2,500 billionaires on Earth. So
I don't know.
anything.
I'm
So if
daydreaming.
I have $100 million, you wouldn't consider me wealthy?
I mean, yeah, I guess, but I don't know. But that's going to go away. Throughout the rest of your life, you still got, 50 years left?
$100 million is a lot of money.
Do you go to your...
That's generational wealth.
He's not just keeping it in a checking account.
you go to your retirement meetings, with your financial advisor, and you see how much money you're going to have accumulated, hopefully, by the time you're 70, and it's in the millions, and you're thinking, that's probably not going to be enough. I mean, honestly, I don't know, 100 million. I'll say 100 million.
100 million. That's a lot, but okay. So you say 3 million? You're way off from what the average American
I'm going to
thinks.
say 3 to 5 million. Not because I would sit on that, but because that's enough to at least get me going to make more. So I'll say 5 million, and I bet you I'm with America.
Rafe, what do you consider to be rich, wealthy?
Well, first, I looked up what you asked, and it said that in 2015 there were 7.3 billion people on Earth.
Okay.
There were 1,826 billionaires, which was 0.000002484% of the world's population.
Okay.
Dang. I am definitely not. There's still enough trash in me that I am 5 mil. I think you're rich if you're sitting on 5 mil. You can pretty much if you put half of that, let's just say 2 million, in something that's yielding what?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
5 million, you're good. You're good. You're
Get something
wealthy.
that's yielding 4% a year on 2 mil. That's $800K a year. That money's just sitting there making money for you in a low risk, right? Am I wrong on that?
Beat inflation.
I don't know the math there, but
I feel like you could move some stuff. I feel like you could not work.
Yeah, I don't know the math, but I know my ambition, and I wouldn't just stop doing anything. And that to me would put me in a perfect position.
I could be wrong about that. That's
5
probably
mil
low.
for me is good. Scott?
5 to 10.
Yeah, because if you look, decent amount of land in Missouri, or even Illinois, it'll cost you, if you want 100 plus acres, you're getting close to the, $800,000, $700,000 range. And so to have that paid off with all the taxes in the future and this and that, yeah, I'm going to say 5 mil.
All right,
that
the
way
average-
you're totally rich.
Americans consider themselves wealthy if they have an average of $2.2 million in assets. $2.2 million. Cash, property, cars, bling.
Owned assets,
Owned assets.
not debt leveraged.
Owned assets. The number is actually down from before the pandemic. In early 2020, Americans said that 2.6 million was the magic number to be rich. But there's a difference between being wealthy and feeling wealthy. The survey also said they surveyed 1,000 random people between the ages of 21 and 75 who had an average net worth of $560,000 in assets. 48% of them said they already feel wealthy, even if they're well below $2.2 million. And that's because many people, especially younger adults, say money alone doesn't equal wealth. There's also currency and experiences and relationships. Oh.
Like, I'm looking up on Zillow.
Yeah, because I'm going to pay my Ameren bill with experiences.
Yeah.
They're talking about equitable assets and with the properties and all that, right? I mean, there's plenty of people I know out there that have $5 million worth of stuff, but they don't have equity in $5 million worth of stuff.
Assets, cash, property, cars, bling. I don't know. That's what this is a Charles Schwab thing. So
The most expensive house right now on Zillow in the St. Louis area is $13.9 million in Wentzville.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, let's say if I'm the richest person in St. Louis, my house is going to be the most, and I'm sure there might be one that's not for sale that's more expensive than that. But, like, I spend $13.9 million on this house that I live in St. Louis. I want to have even more. I want to have 10 times that to make me feel like I'm cool. Like, I'm not going to run out of money in my lifetime.
Right.
So,
Yeah. I mean, you
so
gotta have
that's
the
why I'm
private
going
jet.
100 million.
I think a lot of people, too, don't understand necessarily, like, the assets and the values and the worth and all that kind of stuff. If somebody sees, oh, so-and-so owns a company, and then they look up and they go, that's a $5 million company. And they assume that this guy's worth $5 million.
no.
This guy's maybe clearing $110,000 a year.
Yeah.
After adjusted and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, he owns this company, but, like, you have to understand what goes into making that company a company and a running piece of, machinery.
Well, listen, if you're looking to make some cash, I may have a cash making opportunity for you. Actually, not me, Uber. Uber is launching a car sharing service that will allow you to rent out your car when you're not using it.
That's
Oh, wait. Uber's doing this?
Wait,
Uber's
that's
doing this.
competing
So
with
that's
Toro?
yeah, that's already Toro. You can do that. I mean, you can do that also.
So Uber, it's called Uber Car Share. They're trying this out in Boston right now. They allow car owners to set their own hourly and daily rates. Fuel is included in the cost. Car availability will be made in 15-minute increments with no advance booking required. The company said for years, Uber has made it effortless to tap a button and get a ride on demand. Now we're taking the same approach with car sharing by making it simple, affordable, and sustainable for you to borrow and list cars in your neighborhood.
Man, they've got the infrastructure and everybody already has the app, and so they're going after Toro. I'd be bummed if I was Toro.
Yeah, big time. But I wonder if Toro was building that up to sell to one of these companies anyways.
I don't know. You ever seen that?
Oh, yeah. I've
You
looked
can
up.
do
There's some
RVs,
cars in the area.
A lot of people use it for like music videos or something. They'll if they can't get one from a dealer or something, they'll go on Toro and rent a Lamborghini. For the day.
They have some pretty high-end cars available
Yeah, and
in the area.
and you
If
can
wanna
get cheaper
bu- if
ones
you
too.
wanna
Like
rent.
sometimes it's one of those things where, like, right now I know somebody that's out of town and doesn't have a car, and it's kind of a perfect opportunity. Like, oh, I just need 4 wheels, and you just go on there and you rent it for 3 days, 4 days, whatever you need. Rather than, especially if you're in more remote areas, there are more people doing that than maybe access to like a rental place.
Oh, yeah. It's a great idea.
Good business.
All right, another money-making opportunity, cleaning out your parents' home after they pass. Maybe you find some, you maybe find some valuable stuff up there and cash that in. Mm-hmm. So a couple in L.A. were cleaning out their parents' home last year, and they found a ton of pennies. A ton of pennies in a tight crawl space in the back of the basement. And these were loose pennies, boxes of pennies, crates of pennies, and dozens of bank bags filled with pennies. So they estimate
With a dollar sign on the bank
yeah,
note.
he robbed a. It looks like,
they
it's like
estimate
DuckTales.
that there's 1 million pennies, if not more, in all these. Like, the picture's incredible.
Wow.
It's just pennies.
Well, if they need someone to count it, I know a guy.
They didn't say exactly how old they are, but the pennies are copper, not zinc, which the U.S. switched to back in the 1980s. The problem is, what do you do with 1 million pennies?
Well, that's $10,000.
Right.
So you have somebody go through them and see which ones are sub whatever year they're crazy valuable. You look for the wheat pennies, all the bison. Oh no, those are nickels, aren't they?
So, well, their first thought was Coinstar, but they didn't want to lose 8%, and logistically it wouldn't work since it would be a pain to get the pennies there, and just a bag or two would probably jam the machine. They called around to banks, and none of the banks were interested in taking the pennies. None of them.
Jeez.
One bank manager even said, "Don't even bring them here," saying they don't have room in their vault to accept bulk pennies.
Wow.
So yes, 1 million pennies would be $10,000, but the couple things, there's more value in the uniqueness of the collection. And yes, it's possible there are rare pennies in there.
So what are you gonna do? You gonna sell it to a museum for $12,000?
So people go
Well,
look
they
at
put
it?
up ads online saying, "Hey, you want all these pennies? $25,000."
But it's only worth 10,000.
But listen
but
to me, there could be some rares in there.
There's
You got to
gotta-
find
yeah,
them.
There's
but-
got to be. Why else? Or is this just was this a penny collector? Does somebody have a?
They don't know why. They didn't know the pennies were there. They were cleaning out the house and found all the
I know,
pennies.
I'm talking
Hoarding
about the parent.
problem.
Yeah, right. Like, do
Yeah.
they have a hoarding issue with just this one particular item?
Love pennies.
Yeah, and maybe so. Maybe it's one of those like I'm just going to start collecting pennies, and they started doing it when they were 25. The crazy thing is that this collection amassed, and the children never knew.
Right.
Right? Like if my
Yeah.
dad had some, well, maybe not. If they had some weird collection thing, would you tell anybody? I don't know. Maybe not.
So they're offering $25,000. Hey, take all these pennies. I mean, they're worth $10,000 monetarily, but it could be something of value in here. You got to sift through 1,000,000 pennies.
Yeah, I'll give him $1,000 for it.
I want to know what it looks like. Like, what does 1,000,000 pennies? Oh, it actually popped up. What does 1,000,000
So
pennies
so
look
far
like?
they've just been lowballed as far as offers go.
Yeah, I just offered him 1,000. Let's see if they take it.
Did you see what the weight is of that? Let's say there is 1,000,000 pennies. That's 2.3 tons. There's a photo of 1,000,000 pennies spread into Penny Field in Rockefeller Center. Let's see that.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, this would be.
This is 1,000,000 pennies.
You count this by weighing it.
Look at this. That is 1,000,000 pennies. So they say.
Oh man.
That's a city block.
Well, so the kids are like, we don't know why they stash all the pennies. They think maybe they intentionally converted paychecks to copper pennies, believing their value would be worth more over time.
Interesting.
So it's like you see all those commercials. Invest in silver, invest in gold. I think they wanted to invest in copper, so they bought copper pennies.
Yeah, copper's a great way to start building up some kind of metal investment. You know that
I guess so.
will stay around and be valuable forever, but not.
Are pennies
valuable.
100%? 100%?
No, they're zinc now.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
used to be. They converted them back in the 80s.
Because I was
So
going to say.
pennies are not copper anymore. They're zinc.
Oh, because it says the average annual market price of copper peaked at $9,322 US dollars per metric ton. So they got over 20 grand worth if it were all copper.
Yeah, if the pennies are before the 80s, they're copper.
Oh man, bummer.
But now
Bummer.
it's some zinc alloy.
Is that not the worst? You have something that's of value, that's of no value.
Yeah.
Unless you know what I
Yeah.
mean. Like, oh, that's the worst.
Think you're sitting on a gold mine, but nope. There are ways to teach people valuable lessons. This is not one of these ways. So a guy in Belgium, man, we had a story like this a couple months ago, faked his death and then went to his own funeral in a helicopter as part of a dramatic prank to teach his family and friends lessons about staying in touch.
What a jerk.
This guy's a douche. The guy's name is David Barton. He's 45. He is a TikTok creator.
Oh.
He told his wife and kids about the plan and helped. They helped him pull it off. So one of his daughters helped to trick his followers and friends in what many online people have said, this is cruel, this is awful. She wrote on social media, "Rest in peace, Daddy. I will never stop thinking about you."
Oh my God.
Guess who's never going to stay in touch with this guy after this?
Yeah.
Dozens of family and friends attended the fake funeral and were waiting for the ceremony to start. And they were waiting for the hearse to pull up to wherever they were, but nope, helicopter lands.
How dramatic as well.
Yeah, what is-
David,
what a
along with a
selfish-
camera crew, hops out, greeted his mourners with, "Cheers to you all. Welcome to my funeral." Some were relieved. Some were relieved, like, "Oh my God, you're not dead. You've come back from the dead." Ran out of the field, gave him a hug. Others, like, were in the parking lot going, "What the hell is happening?"
Right.
He said, "What I see in my family often hurts me. I never get invited to anything. I wonder why.
That's
Nobody sees me. We all grew apart. I felt unappreciated. That's why I wanted to give them a life lesson and show them that you shouldn't wait until somebody's dead to meet up with them."
I think it's a dead lesson.
Thoughts?
Well, he's a douche. And so that's the first thought. But now I'm thinking like this guy's getting to do what I think everybody on the planet has at least one thought on, which is like, I wonder what my funeral will be like, or my life.
Who will show up?
Who will show up? What, like if you've ever watched, one of my favorite shows is 6 Feet Under, and it's all about a funeral home. And so there's different moments where the dead people come back and get to see their funerals. And I mean, we don't know what happens after death. Do you get to go to see your celebration of life for your funeral? Who knows? But like, I feel like everybody has that thought. So this guy actually got to experience that.
This selfish jackass got to experience that at the expense of everyone else's emotions.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying he got to do that.
Well, and of course, you put it on TikTok.
That's very brave of him.
Yeah.
What?
It's pretty funny, though.
Yeah, this is.
I mean, it's quite cruel.
There's a great Curb Your Enthusiasm episode
Sure.
about this.
Isn't it?
The first one of the latest season, I believe.
Yeah, but who? It's a famous director.
Yeah, it's
Albert Brooks.
Yeah,
And he stops his own funeral because he doesn't like the speeches people are giving.
And then they find out
Wants to
he's
give notes.
He's
Yeah,
a
but
paper towel
he
hoarder.
didn't surprise people by doing that.
But I mean, this is Mark Twain. This is the Huck Finn scene, right? When then they see their own funeral.
Oh yeah,
Like this has been supplanted in American folklore for 100 years. Of like, what would it be like to see your own funeral? Mm-hmm. This guy found out.
He did.
Yeah, but his real funeral is going to have half that amount of people.
Yeah, but who cares? He won't be there.
All right, here's another story. Reporters in New Orleans, they were at a family home on Monday, this past Monday, reporting on the tragic death of a popular local chef named Demetric Scott. Okay? Demetric had been missing for about 2 weeks. He hadn't responded to any attempts to reach him. He didn't show up to work. Dude just vanished. His family reported him missing, and then they were notified by the coroner's office that a dead body was found dumped in the 9th Ward, and it was believed to be Demetric's body. No tests had been done, and the family apparently hadn't viewed the body yet, but reporters were already at the home. The family was already eulogizing him.
Man.
But while the reporters were still on the scene, Demetric just suddenly showed up, walked up to the cameras. Walked up to the cameras.
Jeez.
A camera crew was there rolling as the dude came from nowhere.
Oh, tell me,
gotcha.
Tell me he did the.
He was
Hey guys,
very
what's
much
going on?
alive, and he was well. Reporters were stunned. Family was stunned. One asked him where he'd been. He said, I've been around. Here he is on camera. Literally moments after he just showed up.
I've been around, just trying to, take some time for myself. You know what I mean? I, work hard and essentially just needed a moment to just sit down and come down and take a break from work and just everything. You know what I mean? Like, I have family, I have friends, I have community, and I just needed to just sit down in the corner and just think.
And you know what? Listening to him talk, I believe him. Like, I don't think there was anything genuinely, like, he didn't want people to think he was dead. I think he just wanted to get away.
Right.
Just needed a moment to breathe.
He seemed genuine. I just think he was going through some stuff.
'Cause he looks
Hopefully he's in a
healthy.
better headspace now.
He doesn't look like he's on drugs or anything like that. He looks very healthy.
No. He just needed a minute, and it's unfortunate that there was a body found, and they jumped to connect.
Well,
it to
also,
it.
I mean,
It's just bad timing, bad
we'll
luck.
put some of it on him, too, because family and friends were looking for the guy. He's been gone for 2 weeks. Imagine you just leaving.
Oh, I thought you said 2 days.
No, 2
That's
weeks.
that's
Yeah, he should have told somebody, hey, I'm just going to go off the grid
Of
for a
course.
couple days if anybody called, like, I'm all right. But also, like, this is the problem with instant gratification in everything that we want. Like, there should have been a little bit more investigative reporting before jumping to, everybody wants the story. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of on the community, like the family, him, as well as the media in that town, like, jumping to a conclusion.
Well, they did
that
find
this
a
guy was-
body.
Did he not go to work either?
He didn't go to work.
Yeah, but wait till the body's identified.
Yeah. I don't know. There's more to this story. I know a bender when I hear one. You know what I mean? I've been on a few. I know a hard bender when I hear one. Like, I've been around. Yeah. Oh, I just needed some time. I'm like, yeah.
Man.
Yeah, I've
Just tied one on.
Anytime I've gone off grid like that, usually I was on a tear somewhere.
2 weeks, though.
That's a long one.
That's a long
I'll
one.
give you that. But if he had been showing up for work and just like disconnected from friends and family, I'd be like, yeah, maybe he just needed a timeout. but like just not showing up for 2 weeks, just going off. He was on an adventure somewhere, dude. He wasn't just. Where was he sitting? What corner was he sitting in?
He's probably out of the country.
Had to sit in a corner and think. What corner? Corner of Hollywood and Vine. That's what corner, baby.
And this is New Orleans, by the way. There's a lot of places.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now it's all starting to come a little clearer.
Police are still investigating, by the way, the whole dead body thing. There was a dead body found.
Yeah.
And I don't know why somebody thought this person was him or how things got as far as they did without more confirmation.
Yeah,
Right.
That's wild. That's wild.
That's bad journalism right there. Bad reporting.
But he just, if the family,
They identified that. First of all, bad family. That's
well, if
him.
the family says, this guy's a popular chef in the area, like a well-known chef in New Orleans. If the family says he's dead, the reporters would probably think the family did their due diligence.
I guess so.
What due diligence?
Identifying the body. Don't you have to identify a body?
I don't know.
If the family says Dimitri's dead, you want to do a report on it? Okay.
I feel like they kind of gave up. They're like, we haven't talked to him in 2 weeks. He's got to be dead.
And then they find a body.
And there's a body that sort of maybe looks like him.
and finally, somebody coming back to life. This is out of Ecuador, and this story is a nightmare.
This is wild. Do you see this?
I know what's happening now.
People in Ecuador were at a wake, and the dead person started banging on the coffin from inside.
Man.
Do you think there's a rhythm to it? Dun, 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 dun.
This video is wild.
76-year-old woman, Bella Montoya, she regained consciousness during her wake last Friday. And now the video you have showing the medics, like the medics like tending to her after her relatives realized mom's still alive.
So I guess they didn't do the embalming or anything like that. And that.
No, she could be seen clearly breathing as she's removed from the casket and placed onto a stretcher.
Whoa.
So the wake was held just 4 hours after she was declared dead, with a medical examiner even providing the woman's son with the death certificate.
Yeah, there's all sorts of investigations going on, too, at this hospital.
So her cause of death was listed as cardiorespiratory arrest. So according to the son, the cardiorespiratory arrest caused her to suffer catalepsy, which I'd never heard of, if I'm saying that right. A trance-like condition where the body becomes rigid, almost like rigor mortis. You have no sensitivity to pain or anything, and your body functions like breathing slow to almost they're undetectable.
Wow.
Jeez.
So because of that, the hospital staff was like, she passed away. So the woman is now being tended to at the same hospital that declared her dead.
Oh.
And her son says she's in stable condition. She's still alive.
Bro.
It's tough video to watch, too, because
That was a little coffin, also.
Right.
Can we talk about that? I know that listeners can't see it, but they had her stuffed in a very tiny coffin.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, it's
she doesn't look like a big lady.
It's fit to size. It's fit to size.
They got her on her side,
there's
dude.
no
They
wiggle
kind of
room.
got her jammed in there on her side a little bit.
It's putting a
What do you want?
I don't know.
putting a size 9 in a size 8 shoe.
Well, it just seems like they tossed her in there pretty quick.
Listen, she's on a concrete floor. I don't know if these are
And
stands.
it's Ecuador.
Hey, man. I'm just making an observation here.
But I see what you're saying. But at the same time, on concrete floor, the coffin looks nice.
How about thank God she had the wherewithal to start banging on the coffin
Yeah,
lid.
the strength to do
The
that.
strength to do that. So their Ministry of Health has assigned a technical team to investigate why a death certificate was so, erroneously rubber stamped.
What if that other guy flew in on the helicopter? I was like, welcome to your mother's funeral. You should have taken better care of her. Look how tiny this coffin is. You should be ashamed of
called her
yourselves.
I was watching that full video, too. The guy walking across the field, getting out of the helicopter. There's tons and tons of kids there. Now, think about, kids. Think about your first funeral you ever saw. A kid in general. Anything anything that happens to you, you basically think is fairly normal, right? If it's happening to you, it's fairly normal.
Right.
Let's say this is some of these kids' first funerals that they're going to. Forever now, every damn funeral they're going to go to, they're like, well,
There's a chance.
They see a helicopter and they're like, oh, God, I've been had again?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, how normal is this?
Candid camera.
Those kids are jacked.
Right.
The boy who cried wolf.
Yeah. Yeah, that guy's a dick.
I know. I'm mad at him. I don't like that.
I don't like him
No,
either.
that's not okay.
It's not okay playing with my emotions like that.
Right. And it doesn't teach anybody the lesson you're trying to teach them. Like,
All it taught
How to
me
grow
is that I
TikTok
probably
numbers?
shouldn't be friends with this guy.
right.
All right. That's your news, by the way.